Hello, every pony. Dexterity Redheart here. And I gotta get back into reading Clop fiction for those of you who are actually fans of Clop fiction. As you all know, I was still on the Desperate Trophy Wife, and let's begin. I really gotta get the voice right again. Oh, God. I was bent over by the sink in the kitchen. That bastard. No good. How could he just... I moaned to myself as I tried to get rid of the burning lust inside of me. I was reluctant to believe that Fancy Pants would cheat on me all these years, but then again, he usually did seem rather interested in other pretty mares. Like Miss Rarity when she was in town. Damn you, Dale. I cursed as I finally got off. I let out a deep breath and hopped down from the sink and onto all fours. As I trotted along to my bedroom, I contemplated what I was going to do. I had nothing to improvise with. No bananas, no cucumbers, not even a pickle. I flopped down onto my bed and sulked to myself. Why would no pony rut me? I thought to myself, but the answer was clear as a sunny day. Because Fancy Pants was my husband, and he would do awful things. But in reality, he probably wouldn't. I grabbed my pillow and made it like I was going to suffocate myself as I screamed. My scream was muffled by the pillow, and after I had exhausted myself, I quickly fell asleep. I felt the warm morning sunlight trickle from the window, and its warmth made the fur on my back rise. The sudden sensation of warmth sent a lone shiver shiver up my back. I groaned irritably to myself as I pulled my blanket over my body. Yeah. I had no intention of getting up today. I think I'd rather just sulk around my house all day. As I lay there in my bed, I let out a defeated sigh. I wouldn't be able to do this all day. It had only been a few minutes, and already I was getting antsy. I groaned to myself and forced my body out of bed. For the moment, I was able to hold back my lustful needs, but I knew that by the end of the day, it was going to be unbearable. I made myself a quick, low-fat breakfast meal and quickly ate it. How I do love yogurt, I said to myself, trying to get my mind off what I so badly needed. But my mind my imagination ran wild, and for some outlandish reason, my mind pictured the yogurt as cum. No, not a chance, I yelled to myself, but I soon lost control of myself and leapt onto the table as I began to pleasure myself. I took the yogurt in big globs and lathered my lower parts with the creamy substance. The rather cold yogurt sent a rather sensitive shiver throughout my body, and I shuddered in pleasure. My hoof became stained with yogurt as I rubbed my slit, stuffed some of the creamy substance inside myself. I felt myself begin to build up pressure inside again, and soon the oh-so-familiar feel of an orgasm ripped through my body, sending shudders and spasms throughout my muscles. As I finally came down from my orgasm, I let out a disgruntled sigh, then went to wash myself off. It was going to be a long day. I could just tell. This is from Dale. Hey, buddy, wanna buy an apple? Just one bit. Get you 3 apples, I said excitedly. The stallion shifted his snout in the air and walked away with a snooty look about him. Fucking Canterlot. Where the rich are snooty and the poor think they are rich, so they're snooty too. You know, for what it's worth sometimes, I just wonder if I should end it all. Just pull out my handgun and bang, right here, right now. No pony would care. Just another animal that killed itself for unknown reasons. Despite my constant thoughts of suicide, I always disregarded them as fast as they came. Sure, I was stuck in a world of crazy-ass ponies, considered an animal, living in a barn with a bunch of farm animals. Okay, so maybe it was kind of a shitty, but I suppose things could be worse. Morning, Mr. Dale, called out an oh-so-familiar voice. I let out an irritated sigh. It was the pink... Morning, Mr. Dale, called out an oh-so-familiar voice. I let out an irritated sigh. It was the pink mare from yesterday I wanted to hear. Oh, no, never mind. God damn it. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sort of getting mixed up with pink for the fact that Fleur isn't really pink. Eh. Morning, Fleur, I said with a fake smile, and I conjured up at the last second. Beautiful morning, isn't it? She asked with a very feminine tone. I looked at the sky. It was warm out today. No clouds, and the birds were chirping. I put on a very immature smile. Oh, yes. It's such a beautiful day, isn't it? The birds are chirping. The sky is clear. The sun is out. And all we're missing is a rainbow with a pot of gold, I said in an irritatingly squeaky voice. She frowned. I take it's not... You're not having a good day, she replied, and I smirked. You fucking think so? I thought to myself, but refrained from asking that. So, if not, what's wrong? She asked, and I sighed as I rolled my eyes. Where to begin? How about I'm stuck in a world of talking ponies and that think I'm a dangerous animal, or maybe the fact that I saved Equestria from an and am still considered a dangerous animal, or maybe the fact that I'm not allowed in the house because I'm a dangerous animal, or maybe never mind. Never mind, I told her with a disgruntled sigh. She raised an eyebrow from my sudden outburst. Why are you considered a dangerous animal? She asked, and I chuckled. 5 years ago, I just started to run the plow through the field, and suddenly what seemed like an earthquake rocked the ground around me. Oh, shit, I swore and looked at Big Montage. What's going on? I yelled out to him. He shrugged fearfully. I looked to see Applejack galloping over to us. Hurry, get in the barn, she yelled, and without hesitation, we all rushed towards the barn. As we neared the barn nets, when I saw it, some devilish-looking creature that burst from the tree line, with a blue unicorn chick on its head. The demon proceeded to rip trees out of the ground and absolutely wreck the property. I approached the barn. I could hear Trixie start to cackle madly. The great and powerful Trixie shall have her revenge, she cackled. I rolled my eyes as the beast approached the barn. Princess Twilight, Celestia, and Luna all flew forth in an attempt to slay the beast, but it simply swatted them away like flies. Aha! The great and powerful Trixie is more powerful than all in Equestria. Now you shall all die. The annoying blue unicorn laughed. I let out a sigh of irritation, and here I thought I was going to get work done earlier today. She was making a friggin' mess of the fields, which I somehow knew that I would have to clean. The others inside the barn all huddled together in absolute fear. The youngest one, Apple Bloom, cried to her into her sister's shoulder. Applejack hushed her sister and sang a rather depressing melody to try and put her sister at ease. My heart sank, and I immediately knew what I had to do. I could have ended this before it started. I knew that she was trying to take over Equestria with demons, but I just let her do her thing. I walked over to the locker that I used to house my weapon. I opened it and immediately grabbed my M4 with the M203 40mm grenade launcher attachment. I pulled back the charging handle and let it slam shut by itself. I placed a grenade round to the launcher and pumped it closed. I holstered my Desert Eagle, then looked at the family now cowering in a barn. I put on my most expressionless face. I'll be back, I told them. God, I had always wanted to do that. No, I'll be back. There we go, I told them. God, I had always wanted to do that. I walked out of the barn with the M4 in both hands. The demon creature was probably about 14 or 15 feet high, with dark red skin. Its body was quite large and bulky and had two twisted horns protruding out of the fronts of its skull. Fire emanated from its eyes, and a mist of black smoke seemed to surround its feet. Trixie looked at me. Demon, kill that pathetic insect, Trixie ordered. The demon looked to me and came barreling over towards me. I leveled my M4 at the hip and held back the trigger. As I roared in anger. The muzzle flashed and spat out the 5.56mm rounds that buzzed through the air and ripped through the creature's body. However, all the bullets managed to do was piss it off even more than it already was. The gun soon cycled through the entire magazine. I rearranged my hands so that I was grasping the grenade launcher and popped off the round. The 44mm fragmentation grenade round erupted as it struck the beast's chest. It howled out in pain as its body spasmed. Trixie fell off the beast's head and quickly rushed out from underneath the demon as it fell back in agonizing pain. Shards of shrapnel splintering in its body. I dropped in M4 and rushed up to the demon as fast as I could. I began to stand up again, but I leapt up onto its body and rushed over to its head. I holstered my mighty handgun and fired a single round right between its eyes. Dark black blood, or at least I think it was blood, splattered up onto me as the demon's head fell back dead. I looked over to the blue unicorn who was in shock from everything that had just happened. She got up to gallop away, but I was on her in a second, like a bolt of lightning. As I neared her, I leapt through the air and tackled her to the ground. I rolled her body over and pinned her forelegs with my knees as I slammed the hilt of the Desert Eagle into her face. I forcibly opened her mouth and jammed the barrel of my pistol into her mouth. Suddenly a hoof rested on my shoulder. "Let it go. She's beaten," Celestia told me. I looked back to her in disbelief. "You're not serious, are you? She was going to kill every pony, and you want me to just let her go?" I snapped with irritation in my voice. Celestia slowly pulled my arm away and the gun barrel slipped out of Trixie's mouth. If you kill her, then that would make you no better than her. She shall stand trial against the Supreme Court of Justice," Celestia announced, and I let out a sigh of defeat as I stood up and holstered my Desert Eagle. Fleur raised an eyebrow. "So, if you saved Equestria, then how does that make you a dangerous animal?" she asked, and I shrugged. "Well, at first it wasn't all that bad. See, for a month after a whole ordeal, Pinkie Pie threw parties, and everybody was all bubbly and happy. Applejack let me reside in the guest room in her house, but every few days I'd wake up yelling. I had shell shock from my time in military service, so eventually she said that she was fearful of her family's well-being. On top of that, they realized that they hadn't been able to stop the demon, but I was able to kill it off easily, and they figured, what would happen if I decided I just wanted to take over Equestria? So in the end, they all got serious spooked out of by my presence inside the house and kicked me out into the barn with the dog." I trailed off and let out a deep sigh. "Well, that was certainly rude of them. I don't think you're dangerous at all," Fleur told me, and the comment rose a smile from my face. A real genuine smile. "Thanks. You know, sometimes I wonder if I should have taken Trixie up on her offer. Take over Equestria. At least then I'd be able to sleep on a bed, not a pile of hay. Like, really, I tried to tell them it was just the shell shock, but they thought I was going rabid or something. I told her, and she sighed and gave me a sudden hug of sympathy. "I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope you find something to ease your pains," she whispered softly. I reached up and scratched the back of my head. Usually ponies don't react like this when I told them how I ended up stuck in a barn. She looked up to me. "So why are you here?" she asked, and I sighed. "Well, after they booted me into the barn, I still stuck around, like I had anywhere else to go. Applejack has me running the sales carts up to Camelot and selling goods. I tried to tell her we'd get better business in, say, Dodge Junction or Appaloosa, but she doesn't listen. And while I'm pulling this goddess-forsaken 1,500-pound wagon up the mountainside, she's off fucking the dog." I scowled. She raised an eyebrow from the last comment. "She has sexual intercourse with the dog?" she asked, and I chuckled. No, it's a term humans use. It means that she doesn't do all that much while I'm out busting my ass in the fields. She's fucking around with her friends and saving Equestria. Yeah, saving Equestria my ass. Last time I checked, saving Equestria doesn't mean socializing in town with her friends at Sugarcube Corner," I said with heavy irritation. "Oh dear, I'm so sorry to hear that. Would you by chance be interested in coming over to my house to help me with some things I need help with?" she asked, and I sniffed the air. Her scent was heavy and undeniable. "No thanks, I still have to sell all these." I trailed off as a sudden crack of lightning sounded and the rain began to pour down. I let an irritated sigh, then pulled a chain on the wagon. A hoof popped up over top of the wagon, but only sheltered the goods, not me. I almost instantly became soaking wet and let out another irritated sigh. I looked at Fleur, who was shivering slightly. Her mane was now soaked as well as her fur, which both drooped down and dripped with water. "How much?" she asked, and I raised an eyebrow. "I'm not a whore," I said with a chuckle. She gave an irritated shove. "No, you buffoon. How much does everything cost altogether? I'll pay for it, then you can be free to come back to my house and to dry off, she offered, though I was still reluctant, because I knew what she really wanted. That didn't sound all that bad for the time being. The wagon has 2,000 bits worth of stuff, I told her. She smiled and grabbed a little wooden sign from the wagon and inscribed free on it. I chuckled to myself as she began to pull me along back to her house.